Ladies and gents, I'm Papa Smoke and welcome to the House of Smoke social media. Okay, so today's video is on Magick, the mind and meditation. Yesterday's was on energy flow, Magick and physical fitness. Okay, so we covered yesterday how the body is an incredibly powerful tool and how keeping it as strong and as fit as you can physically be for yourself affects your mental state in terms of confidence and strength and stuff, and in terms of how that transpires to your magic in terms of clear airways. You're more mentally confident, so you feel more stronger and you can push stronger manifestations out there into the world. Now we're going to have a look at the mind's impact on this. So, as I was saying at the beginning, the mind's an incredibly powerful tool. In Magick, we can train and attune it to do a number of wonderful things. For example, in the principle of planetary high magic, if you've trained your mind enough, you can grow so big. You're bigger than the universe itself, and in fact, the universe is like a tiny little LED at your feet, and you exist in something known as the void. Here we can create and destroy things at will, and this is all done in one's mind. Meditation is key to this. Meditation is an actually really powerful tool. What it does is it helps hone your skills and in tune your visualization skills to be able to perform such wonderful feats as literally growing into the void and living in your own God manifestation. So meditation itself, I use this, I've been using it every day and it's really increased my visualization skills. Not to mention, it helps you drop into something called the theta-gamic sync a little easier. What's the theta-gamic sync, you might ask? Well, shout out E.A. Cohen. E.A. Cohen originally coined the phrase and brought out the theta-gamic sync in about 2018. Scientifically, it might have already been known, but in our little community, not many people knew about it. You see, our little community is full of too many dime store channelers that do a little winga, winga, winga chant, and in 30 seconds, all of a sudden, they're channeling the deity. No. This doesn't happen. In order to channel or in order to invoke, evoke, or actually speak to a being, without being a full physical medium like Amy Allen from Dead Files, you need to actually drop into something called the theta-gamic sync, which is where your brain waves, the theta waves, become in line with gamma waves, the gamma waves, and that's why it's called the theta-gamic sync. In this particular state, you're susceptible to spiritual things, you're psychically open, and you're able to communicate with the divinities. So channelings shouldn't take 30 seconds and you're already speaking to the divinity. My mate takes Bahon Sandy and I get words off of him every now and then, I get sentences off of him, sometimes I have to filter him. However, in order to have a full-blown conversation with him, unless he's actually present in my microcosm, I would have to call him down. To have the ability to perceive him when I called him down, I would have to be in the theta-gamic sync. So, the mind is a really, really powerful tool. When you're feeling strong, your Magick is strong, your chi is strong, or kunda or ki, or whatever people call it. When you're feeling weak, your Magick is weak, your chi, your kunda, your ki is weak. So let's move on to how the mind can be so strong that it can affect our manifestations. Let me first introduce you to the principle of psychic attraction. People also call this the law of attraction. Psychic retraction is a way of focusing on a goal and basically manifesting that in your own mind by psychically attracting it, by willing it and wanting it that hard and not thinking about anything else, just getting to that goal, that you actually magically and spiritually push yourself towards that goal and further any efforts you are making by giving them one force multiplier, one hell of a magical boost. Psychic attraction is a really, really, really useful thing, although in some cases it can be a really, really, really negative thing. As above, so below, so the dark side of psychic retraction, when people start saying stuff like, oh, this will probably happen, and they refer to the worst case scenario, or they say, oh, what's the worst that could probably happen, and then they're saying to the universe, give me your best shot. Good examples of psychic attraction are, I'm going to work really, really, really hard until I can afford a car, and then you might be like 3/4 of the way towards where you think your goal is, and all of a sudden, bam, you see one on offer, because you psychically attracted that. Another good example of psychic attraction is when people manifest their loves. So people can sit there longing and longing and longing and longing for the right person to come along, and they can actually manifest and attract that person. The reason this doesn't happen in 90% of the cases is self-confidence. People doubt themselves, people feel that in themselves that they're weak or they're not sure, and this sort of energy sort of like screws everything up. So this has led us neatly into explaining the principles of psychic retraction to you. So psychic retraction, as it sounds, is the opposite to psychic attraction. Again, it goes on the principles of as above, so below. So you should psychically retract things you don't want. You should never psychically retract things you do want. And most people will say, but Papa Smoke, why, as a rational, intelligent person, would I psychically retract things I want? Well, you wouldn't, but people do this through impatience, and people do this because the heart wants what it wants, and sometimes it's too painful for it not to get what it wants. So in some cases of psychic retraction, people will have love work done. Because they're hurting inside, they'll be impatient and they'll come back after 3 weeks and say, it's not manifested yet. And then you'll set their mind to rest and they'll go away still thinking the same destructive, it's not happening, stuff like this never happens for me, it's never going to happen. And all those thoughts there, even if they're not said aloud, all those thoughts there are willing a barrier to your Magick actually manifesting, yeah? Another way that psychic retraction can be done, and these are a couple of sneaky ways. One way is if you continually think about a spell. You see, when you have a spell or a work done, you're supposed to detach from the outcome. So if you continue to think about that spell, the etheric cord that is created between you and that spell becomes open, yeah? Open like a faucet, yeah? Right, so whatever energies you experience through the day then will travel down that open faucet straight into your work, yeah? So if you cannot let go of the outcome in your mind, yeah, you can't just live your life and just completely forget that you've had work done and let it manifest, yeah, don't have work done. Because if you go to work one day and you're stressing about the outcome of this spell, and you go to work one day and your boss chews you out, yeah, you've just completely contaminated your spell with negative energy. You go home from work one day and your spouse is giving you grief, yeah? Instead of fixing things between you and your spouse, you just soured things because you've again not been able to detach from the outcome and link to that work. Literally, I was explaining to you yesterday that the body is an incredibly powerful tool, yeah? The mind is 2 or 3 times more powerful than that. 2 or 3 times more powerful than that. So you have to be careful what you think into existence, what you speak into existence, and what you write into existence, yeah? Any words that you use in any context must be carefully thought about, especially if you've had work done. Spelling is called spelling for a reason. This has been the mind Magick and sorry, I do apologise. This has been Meditation, the Mind and Magick. I'm Papa Smoke. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, which isn't the right law. See ya. Peace.